Alright, now the final subclass I'm going to cover is the last subclass that I've saved for last, is the Hunter Nightstalker. And not going to lie, this one had me worried until I read the skill tree. But this is the clip that they have in the vid doc here. And they straight up say it's support class, which makes sense. The Hunters would be pretty ridiculous if they just got another offensive one and their playstyles wouldn't change too much. As awesome as the bow looks, I wish it could kill, which it might be able to, but just visually it looks amazing. But just being able to chain things, I just don't. It's going to be good in PvE, but PvP, it depends on how they do it. That was my initial impression anyways, but as we get into this is just beautiful. So you have the spike grenade, which is that stupid Titan one that just kind of sucks in all the void thing, I think. As you see, it says Defender Titan, which, I don't know. I think it's like a weaker version of the Thunder Strike grenade or whatever it was called that they get. But then we get Slash grenade, which is the new type of grenade that they're introducing, and depending on how this works, this could just be a ridiculous grenade, because the Nightstalker subclass is all about being a support. I could see this grenade being very awesome for like closing down doorways or just like hallways and stuff. So it says horizontal wall of burning void light. So I don't know if it's going to be you throw it and then it's going to be like 4 points that open up and it's going to be a wall, or if it's just going to be a line of energy. But depending on how that actually works, it could probably be a really awesome grenade. And then you got the void grenade, which I don't know which void grenade that is, but it's from the Warlock. So it's either going to be, well, I guess the void grenade is just the area that just slowly drains everything. Otherwise it would have been Shatter or Axion Bolt. As for jumps, we don't know what this one is here. I'm hoping it turns into a blink, but I don't think they're going to give the Hunter that much movement in this subclass because of some other things. So I'm assuming it's going to be higher jump, more controlled jump, and then triple jump, basically what the Gunslinger subclass has, and it would fit the other, like the Titan and Warlock ones. They have just their standard things too from their first subclass, so it makes sense that way. Now for their super, which sucks how we don't get these two bubbles, but Shadow Shot, tether a large group of foes to a void anchor, slowing and silencing them for your fire team. So you not only slow them, you also silence them, meaning that they can't use abilities. And in PvP, and it does chain, probably up to 3 or 4 people. Like you hit one, and then it chains twice, or it chains 3 times, depending on what that cap is. I can't imagine it's going to be everything. But you can basically, if you're playing PvP and they're grouped up, or PvE, doesn't matter, like you shoot it and then they can't move. They move really slowly and they're silent, so they can't jump to get away and stuff. So it's pretty good. That's why it's a support thing. But then you have Gloam Ranger. Unite your allies, reduce incoming damage and buffs out. Reduces incoming damage and buffs outgoing damage for your tethered fire team. So this turns it into, instead of shooting it at the enemies, you shoot it at your teammates, and you tether your teammates, and then they take less damage and deal more damage, which is, it's very cool. I like it. It's a very neat mechanic, and it would be interesting to see which one's more effective. For boss fights, I could see Gloam Ranger, but for PvP, both are pretty good depending on what game mode you're really playing. And then you have their melee, which their melee just blows my mind. Like, it's ridiculous. I didn't know what they were going to do with this, but anyways, let's get into it. Smoke. Throw smoke to slow and disorient those within its cloud. So it's not really a melee, it's another grenade basically, which I love because hunter melees tend to suck. But I'm guessing, I don't know how disorient it's gonna work. Like, is it gonna be like the Titan, I forget, like suppressor grenade or whatever one it is that like your screen goes all blurry? Because if that's how smoke's gonna work, then that's super strong just as is. Especially with like the wall, like you can set up a wall and then throw the smoke behind them, and then they have nowhere to go. They're either taking damage running forward or they can't see running backwards. I'm excited for that. And then the first bubble here is smog. Significantly increase the size of smoke, allowing you to affect multiple targets. So this is what kind of interests me. Like, is it going to be like a smoke cloud, like how smoke grenades typically work? Like, you throw it and it puffs open and it just kind of stays there. And can you see through the smoke, or is it going to be like the what is it? The witches or wizards, like their poison clouds? If it's like that and you can actually see through it still, or if it's going to be like a Call of Duty smoke grenade in a tighter area. I don't know, but it would be interesting. Or it might just be like a throwing knife where you actually have to hit the person for it to take effect. I don't know. But a lot of possibilities just with these two things here. Then we got Envenomed, adds a toxin that suffocates enemies within smoke. So now I'm assuming it's going to take away the disorient, or maybe it might keep disorient, but it just now does damage over time. So it's pretty good. And then we got Snare, allows smoke to stick to surfaces, detonating when enemies are near. So you can place it on a wall, and when they come by, then it pops. Which, once again, another very good type of grenade. Maybe not as good for PvE as it is PvP, but still, like, I love where they went with that melee. And then we got our stat modifiers, which they don't show. I'm assuming it's going to be, I think just all of them go agility and health recovery, which I'm fine with. But for our first passive slot here, we have Uncanny Archer. Every target tethered increases your armor and recovery stats by 1 until Shadow Shot is recharged next, and then it reduces the time to your next Shadow Shot. So this just reduces your cooldown flat out for your super, which is awesome. But it also increases your armor and recovery, so you take less damage and you can heal that damage faster. And it's until your next super comes up. So that just seems like a lot of value in that one passive, and I like it. It's pretty nice. But then we have Shadow Trapper. Tethers have increased range and duration and potency. So if we go back to just the base thing here, well, I guess it works for both actually. You can tether, if you tether people in a short range, let's say they have to take 5 steps to get out. Now they might have to take 10 steps while moving slow, but now the slow has been increased to even, like, maybe like instead of like a 50% slow, like now it's 25%, so it takes them even longer to even reach that 5 step mark. And then the tether also lasts longer, so it's just going to be ridiculous. And same with Gloam Ranger. Your allies can spread apart further from each other now, and then they take way less damage than they normally would have with Gloam Ranger on, and then they also deal way more damage than they would have. So that's great, really. Can be like, that's a really good perk or passive, I guess. And then we have well provisioned, gain an additional grenade and significantly increase grenade durations, which this is like all 3 passives here are really, really good. Not only do you gain an additional grenade, but the durations of these 3 grenades get increased, and all kind of do. Let's just exclude this Titan one because that's terrible. Depending on how Slash Grenade works, you can essentially either just place both grenades in the same spot and it does double damage if they walk through it, or you can cover like multiple areas of a map or place, and then they would stay up even longer than they would have, and you can just hold it down. So for instance, Cauldron this week in Travels of Cyrus, you could throw both grenades at the doorways and they would just come up and be there for a good significant time, and the enemy can't really do anything about it. And then Void Grenade, which is basically kind of the same thing as Slash Grenade if you think about it, where it's kind of in an area you're dealing constant damage. And that's just going to last longer, and you get 2 of them, so that's just a great passive in general. And then into the last passive slot here, we have Keen Scout, Sneak Faster, which don't really know what that means exactly. Sneak faster, just move faster maybe. Gain Enhanced Motion Tracker, so your radar, I'm guessing, is bigger and or something, like you can see further, which would be really good, especially for PvP. And then you mark all targets, you damage, and then allies get like waypoints. So like I don't know if it's going to be it says waypoint, so I'm guessing when you hit something it's well like a waypoint that pops up that like hovers, versus I forget which gun it is, something from the Crota raid I think, that highlights enemies where like they just have something sticking up above them, like the golden light that the other chests have. I don't know if it's going to be like that or if it's actually just going to be walking waypoints, which for PvP that's really good. That's a really good perk. Then we have Rapid Shot. After firing your initial Shadow Shot arrow, you may fire up to 2 explosive arrows in quick succession. So that's where the damage comes in, and offensive capabilities of the subclass come in with your super. So not only do you shoot it and it tethers the group, you then can shoot 2 explosive arrows that deal damage to that group, or anyone else I guess you want to shoot. So that's nice to see that they actually have a offensive part in this subclass. But once again, 2 very good perks. And then we get Shade Step. Gain and evade on double jump tap, I'm assuming. Would it be now? What's circle? I don't know what circle is on PlayStation controller. Let's double circle. So on B, so you're crouch, assuming you're playing like that. So when you double tap crouch, you evade, and as you see here,
goes out, captures the other guys.
I think it right there.
Doesn't have it right now.
That's the evade, which
But he doesn't have it right now.
could be pretty ridiculous depending on what they give us for this 3rd jump here, or 2nd jump. But I mean, just being able to evade is just adds so much movement to the subclass and can make from some pretty nice looking plays. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the 3 subclasses. I'm excited for them. Should be a really good time, and I think that they did a really good job with them, at least from what we've seen here. For all I know, this could all be made up, but I don't think so, as it does kind of relate back to their actual video. So that's pretty much it, and hope you guys enjoyed.